Phrozen's entry into the 12K printer race has come with a rather unique approach, and whilst this is certainly the most expensive option, I'm sure that many an existing Mighty 8K owner will be grateful for it. Because this isn't a printer you can buy, this is an upgrade for a printer that already exists. On the one hand, if you have no printer right now, to get this you need to buy a brand new 8K printer and a separate upgrade kit. But if you already have the Mighty 8K, at least you can upgrade to the new generation without buying a whole new printer. And this approach is enough to remind me that Phrozen is a company worth investing in. And though we have seen 12K done before, the results have been both a direct hit and a clear miss. So where does Phrozen's 12K stack up? And even if you do already have the 8K, is it worth the upgrade to 12? Hi, I'm Ross, and this is Fohammer Videos. Now, I'm not going to waste too much of your time going over what has been said before. After all, if Phrozen aren't going to make a whole new printer, why should I make a whole new video? Most of the spec of this thing is carried over from that 8K model. The chassis and silhouette is identical after the upgrade, with the only visible change being the replacement of an old 8K badge with a new 12K one. And yeah, that's kinda sexy. And because the external case doesn't change, you still have all the external features in the same place: power switch on the back, USB port on the front, etc. The mechanics inside haven't changed either. You still have a dual linear rail on the Z-rail and a traditional lead screw. The build plate and leveling mechanism are the same, which is good because it works, and the surface of that build plate is fantastic for both part adherence and removal. The VAT is identical, but the upgrade kit comes with a sheet of ACF film, which you can use in place of PFA, but I'll come back to that because using ACF could have an impact on print quality too. Where the printer actually changes though, is in the display, which has gone from 8K to 12. Instead of a 10-inch 8K screen with a print resolution of 7680 by 4320 and a build area of 218 by 123mm, and that's based on the 8K spec from the Phrozen website. They don't actually list the display resolution for their Mighty 8K on the site other than telling us it's a 28 micron printer. The new screen is 10.1 inch, the resolution has upgraded to 11520 by 5120, and while the screen size has gone up from 10 to 10.1 inch, the build area is still 218 by 123mm, and even then, that's rounded up. This screen has the exact same display specification as the Elegoo Saturn III and the Anycubic M5s, and those are the hit and miss printers that I mentioned at the beginning of this review. Check out my comparison video for those printers for a reference against this one. Back to speaking about this one, the build volume hasn't changed because we just mentioned the print area and the Z-arm lifts just as high as it did before, which is 235mm. So the majority of the time I spent with this review was in the upgrade itself. This isn't just a screen replacement. You need to remove the whole outer chassis, though that's easy enough, and then you need to replace the LCD driver board, the motherboard, and the screen itself. Now me, I'm an experienced technician. I spent the best part of a decade repairing notebooks. I'm personally responsible for over 10,000 repairs during that tenure. And so I found this relatively straightforward. It took about 90 minutes, and that includes me adjusting my camera throughout. And Phrozen have a pretty decent video explaining how to do this, and whilst it may be fiddly for most people, just be careful with your parts and it should be no harder than a tricky Meccano set. Only 90s kids will get that reference. Having watched that video, the only advice I'd give is when you're watching it, don't put the LCD tape on when they tell you to. Skip to the test your hardware section before you go securing everything in place. At least then, if something's gone wrong, you aren't trying to remove this tape at great risk to your screen's ribbon cable. But thankfully, all of this upgrade can be done using the hex tools that you got with your Mighty 8K, so I hope you kept hold of them. You don't get any new ones in this set. Once done though, you've got yourself a 12K Phrozen printer. Though it's worth noting for all intensive purposes that this is a new printer. Because you replaced the motherboard, it will not remember anything. You've essentially swapped out its brain. This, however, means you need to redo your whole out-of-box experience, re-level the bed, and reconnect it to Wi-Fi. Unfortunately though, as of right now when I record this video, due to this new motherboard, you do lose a few features of the Mighty 8K. One of those is that you can no longer just connect to a remote folder and send your files wirelessly to the printer. It will connect to Wi-Fi, but you just cannot connect to it from your PC no matter what you do. Phrozen have assured me that they're working on this, but based on how long it took them to sort out a specific feature on the old 8K, they aren't carrying much community faith in the software development department. Don't get me wrong, this may be working by the time my video comes out, and if it is, I'll update the video description. but right now, as I record this video, it's not working. Speaking of the feature that it took them forever to sort out, the camera. With the 12K upgrade kit, this once again doesn't work, but honestly, I could care less if they get this working, because the feature was pretty useless anyway. The one that actually saddens me, because, well, I used it, is the lack of a screensaver mid-print. While, yeah, this was a fairly useless feature to most people, it was quite attractive and really made the Mighty 8K have the feel of a more premium purchase over its competitors. Now, when the printer is printing, the screensaver will just go to a blank screen, making me frequently wonder if the printer's even on. It is mostly minor software stuff that they will fix, but this lack gives the impression that this hardware was just not ready for release, and that's an easier pill to swallow on other brands because, well, they're much cheaper. We expect an element of jankiness from them. But Phrozen are widely considered as the premium brand, and this feels rushed when we've come to expect refined from them as a brand. As for how it prints, now it's got the upgraded screen, yeah, it's pretty awesome. I use their own 8K resin on this printer because even though I've said that this stuff is too brittle for practical parts, it is still by far one of the most detailed resins on the market. And thanks to this, it will show us in micron level detail what this screen is capable of. It's also worth noting that my initial prints on this unit used the original PFA film that came with the Mighty 8K. Phrozen have kindly sent me a spare vat with this unit, so I can interchange between PFA and ACF as I need to for testing. And thanks to this, I can and will make a future video properly comparing PFA to ACF in detail, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that. I want to finally answer the question of which is better and what the drawbacks of ACF are. PFA is better, we all know that, but I'm going to make a video anyway, it's content, at least I'm going to prove it. Anyway, back to prints on this. I'm thinking back to when I compared prints on the Mighty 8K's 28 microns to the Mini 8K's 22 microns, and I said back then you really couldn't see much of a difference. The point I was making is that though there is a minor difference there, I'd always rather have the convenience of a 10-inch plate than that minuscule quality difference you can only see under a microscope or macro lens. Well, it's the same here. On its raw settings with no anti-aliasing, you do get marginally smoother prints. The difference between 28 microns on an 8K printer is not significantly different to the 24 micron pixels on a 12K printer. Now, arguably, all of these 12K printers should have 19 micron pixels, but they don't, because the pixels in these screens aren't square, they're rectangular. 12K resolution on a 16:9 screen should have 11520 by 6480 pixels. Because the pixels are rectangular, it only has 5120 on the y-axis, that's front to back. So when you look at parts, they're marginally higher resolution on the surface which is parallel to the x-axis of the build plate, that's the left to right, but it's a 5 micron difference, so you'd be hard pressed to even tell. And regardless, no matter what you print on these 12K screens, some part of the model is always oriented towards the y-axis, so the best you can get from any print on one of these is 24 microns. So I'm calling them 24 micron printers. Now, to be fair, if you're printing large models, like say busts as a size comparison, you'd never see a benefit here. With your naked eye, you wouldn't see much of a difference at all. If any. I doubt you could see any. And the same is true for miniatures, which are often heavily scrutinized as the ultimate test of detail from a 3D printer. And whilst again, you wouldn't see a difference with the naked eye, we often photograph our printed models and blow them up to several times their actual size on various Instagram and Facebook posts. Or show them off on YouTube videos where some viewers could be looking at them on an 80-inch TV. If this is you, let me know in the comments. I bet that's less than like 4 people. Anyway, in that case, you can still easily see voxel and layer lines on all of these models. Now, thankfully there's a solution to this, and the voxel and layer line issue can be all but eradicated with anti-aliasing. If you want those lines gone, you need to enable anti-aliasing and 2x image blur on either the 8K or the 12K screens. And this isn't a Phrozen thing, this is the same with every brand that has gone from 8K to 12K. When you enable this though, the difference between prints on either screen are entirely imperceivable. So, when it comes to prints using ACF, this diffused film gives you a 30% boost to print speed when compared to PFA because prints can release easier. But like almost all ACF films I've tested, it leaves a grain on the surface which is more apparent than the layer lines you just removed by using anti-aliasing. And so this testing proves a couple of things. The 12K upgrade from Phrozen is on par with prints from the Saturn III range of printers, where you can see 14 holes, 14 posts on the exposure test file, so you will initially get the benefit of 12K. And that's great when you're printing larger objects that you intend to look at with your naked eye or photograph to show at actual size. But when you're printing smaller things and blowing up the image, you need to enable anti-aliasing to remove the layer lines anyway, which kinda makes these 12K upgrades a bit pointless. So yeah, I have huge kudos for Phrozen for not just releasing a 12K printer and forcing people to upgrade. It is a much more cost-effective approach to offer an upgrade to existing products. It makes me feel like Phrozen is truly a platform worth investing in. It was the smarter approach for them just to keep up with the competition, and I know a ton of Mighty 8K investors out there who will be smiling because they did this, and I'm smiling with you. But I wouldn't for the life of me recommend that most people rush out to buy it, and I certainly don't recommend that you buy a new 8K and the upgrade kit to go with it, unless you really want the benefits of the Phrozen UI and interface. Up until recently, it has been the strongest of all the brands. But if you already have a Mighty 8K and you need to replace your screen anyway, then yeah, in that case, this upgrade makes a lot more sense. Though if you want absolute detail, don't even bother with the included ACF film. They really should allow you to choose between a new sheet of ACF or PFA when you make your purchase. Honestly though, I think I would have liked to have seen a bit more commitment from Phrozen on this release. As I suggested to them directly, whilst this should have definitely been released, at the same time they should have retrofit all their existing Mighty 8K stock and done the upgrade to 12K for every new customer buying in. And while they're in there, remove the useless camera too. No, nobody uses it. Though look, I am saying this with the ignorance that a customer has, and I don't know if this activity would make the product price prohibitive to every potential new customer. It probably would, and that's likely why they didn't do it. So I can't blame them for not. But also, the upgrade's kind of currently unfinished too. Sorry, if you enjoy your Mighty 8K and all of its features, right now you do lose a couple of them until they fix it. And the main one is Wi-Fi file sharing. So yeah, I like that they've got options here, but personally I'm more excited about what Phrozen could be doing next because they have a solid history of leapfrogging their competing brands. So make sure you're subscribed here to find out more as soon as I can tell you. What do you think of this upgrade? Do you agree that the option is a smarter approach than a whole new printer? Do you see that you'll get much value out of it? Please, let me know in the comments. I want to say thank you for watching and a huge thanks to our members who are up on the screen now. Their contributions help us keep the lights on and they get early access to our videos, sometimes many weeks before release, along with exclusive content too and priority message replies. If you found this helpful or useful or fun, let me know by clicking like and adding a comment for the algorithm. Thanks again for watching. Until next time, where we're going, we don't need roads. Fohammer out.